I've done most of the position and position groups you could do for this style of video, but now we're going to head over to the athletes, meaning they could be anywhere, and we're going to get a wide variety of positions and players and a wide range of outcomes too, because the thing that's interesting about the athletes is I'm not going to be choosing what they play. Whatever they are listed as, whatever the team that gets them puts them at, that's what they're going to be. And there's been a number of times where in this game, you can see for yourself when you have played, when you get an athlete, the position that he is, I guess, recommended to play or initially listed to play isn't always what he's best at. Now, for Niles Abel, that's going to be not the case. Quarterback is what he should be playing. He looks like he could be a pretty nuts quarterback with all those skill caps, but you know, you've noticed when you get athletes, it's not even just overalls. There are certain times where athletes will have pretty interesting skill caps when it comes to their other positions that they may not be, you know, as recommended to play. There's been times where I've gotten athletes where the position that they're supposed to play, whether it's quarterback or running back or whatever, their skill caps stink, and then I move them to another position, and their skill caps are a whole lot better, which gives you the opportunity to play them for the higher ceiling. But like I said, I'm hands off for this video. Maybe if this one, you know, is really well received and you want to see a different version of this video where I choose the position for them and I pick where they play, then we can maybe do that. But also an interesting one here, an odd Toledo championship, so respect to Toledo for somehow winning a championship in one of the first years. That's one of the randomest ones that I have seen. But we've already gotten a vast amount of positions here. We've gone quarterback, running back, now tight end. Abel, unfortunately for him, Georgia's just really stacked, so he's not going to be playing off the bat, and it's going to, you know, take a while for him to get in there. But for Meeks, on the other hand, he's going to be, you know, at West Virginia, so he's already a starter, not quite as deep of a roster, and despite being just an 80 overall, he's going to be the starting running back for the team. And a tight end, Keon Apple. I didn't do tight ends. It was one of the few positions that I haven't done because I just didn't feel like tight ends were going to do a whole lot. Didn't feel like it'd be an entertaining video, but maybe Keon Apple can prove me wrong and show that tight ends deserve their own video. As usual, we will watch all the playoff games that these guys appear in, and I'll show you the stats year by year if they play. And in Meek's case, he did play. If I don't show you a player's stats, it's because he either didn't play at all or played so little that it wasn't worth noting. And Arizona State, interestingly enough, they're on the board twice, back-to-back players, so they've gotten Winters and Apple. Abel, he's looking pretty good, but it's just a wait and see for him to play, and it's probably going to take him going to a 5th season for him to get on the field. But that's going to just happen when you go to some of these stacked schools. Phil Meeks, on the other hand, nice growth for him year to year. And Keon Apple, I mean, he's already almost maxed out. He took a pretty nice jump up, but I don't know what that ceiling is going to be. Maybe 85, 86 if everything gets maxed out. Tight ends do have a lower threshold to get drafted, so he could absolutely still get drafted. Greg Winters, on the other hand, is just an impact dev player, so our first, maybe bit of a letdown type of player. I feel like if you don't get a star or elite from one of these top level players, I do deem it a little bit of a disappointment, but there's been multiple impact guys to have, you know, superseded what we thought they could be. Also, this has got to be like the worst Heisman winner I've seen. That is an atrocious Heisman winner. Imagine that happening in real life. But we do got some action finally. It only took a couple minutes into the video, but Meeks is in the playoffs against Georgia. Unfortunately, it's not against Niles Abel, so we aren't going to get a little matchup here. But look at that trick play, and a reverse pass is going to go for a touchdown, and trickery from the West Virginia offense. And it's going to be right back the other way with Georgia. Big time play, second play of the drive. They go all the way. They take the lead back. And now it's going to be up to the West Virginia offense. I don't know if they got any other tricks up their sleeve, but they got a first down here. Playing in the snow, first round of the playoffs, home field advantage. And with a man in motion, they're going to snap, throw it outside. That's going to be intercepted by Georgia, and they're taking it back. And their defense is not going to be able to get a stop. Georgia's offense is able to get a first down, run the clock out, and Meeks, his playoff run is halted at just a singular game, but it's not because he didn't do his job. He was phenomenal in the game. Still didn't run for quite 1,000 yards. He had a great season nonetheless, and Keon Apple's going to hit the transfer portal. He's going to Fresno State, which is interesting because, you know, it was playing style that he wanted, and You know, sometimes that'll lead to players transferring a lot, but he would have been the starting tight end for Arizona State if he had just waited. Niles Abel, speaking of being a starter, finally is going to get his opportunity to start for Georgia. And he's only going to have this 1 year to prove himself, but he is a pretty good quarterback. 89 overall is really good. You know, you've seen in the quarterback video that I did a while back, 89 overall is really good at that position. Meeks, speaking of really good, 90 overall. He's going to be going pro. Keon Apple, you know, because he transferred. I would like to see that be changed next year where transfer players can get developed. It's kind of silly that they don't. I don't fully understand why, but, you know, you'd like to see that change. Greg Winters, not exactly progressing at the best rate here for his first season. He started off a little bit lower, being a 75 overall off the bat, but 75 overall isn't exactly a death sentence if you got good development, because Luvu being a 75 overall, he's got star dev unlike Winters, so they're both the same archetype, both the same overall, one's impact, one's star, and we've seen in the running back video, a star or elite running back, doesn't matter what they're starting off as, at any point, they could just explode overall wise. I've seen 8 overall jumps and just massive jumps. Niles Abel, he gets to start, finally an opportunity to play in his 5th season. He goes and makes an All-American team, knocks out Wisconsin in the first round of the playoffs pretty easily, and then going on to the second round of the playoffs, destroys Alabama, and it's going to be hard to see if we could even get him in some action because he's out here smashing all these teams. He wasn't the only player to make the playoffs. We'll hop on the other side of the bracket to go to West Virginia, where Meeks is trying to get himself a playoff victory. He wasn't able to get it last time against Georgia, and there goes Meeks for a first down to the 35-yard line just inside. Now they're in the red zone, dropping a throw, and they're going to go the end zone, and that's going to be intercepted, and their opportunity to tie the game is thrown away, and the interception, I would have just handed the ball to Meeks. You had plenty of time. A minute and a half inside the 20 is plenty of time. You don't need to rush it, and now that Kansas State team's going to be taking on Georgia, and they're down by 3, so we could have had a Georgia-West Virginia rematch. Fortunately, we're not getting that, but Kansas State is going to be getting a sack, and it's going to be 3rd down and long. Now 3rd and 24. You got to go for it on 4, so they're just going to take something to make it a bit more of a manageable 4th down try, but you got to throw this ball past the sticks, dropping to throw it outside. That's going to be intercepted. You had to force something, so Georgia's going to put this one to bed, it looks like. If they could just get the first down here, the handoff is going to be through, and they got it. And Georgia's heading to a national championship, so you gave Niles Abel an opportunity to start for them, and he takes them to a national championship against Oregon, and now it's a tie game, 21-21, the handoff. The run game is thriving right now for Georgia. He gets to about midfield. Now they're just a little bit past the 2nd down and 7. Play action. Abel is going to throw outside. That's going to be caught wide open for the first down, just about at the 30-yard line. 1st down and 10. Abel is going to go over the middle, and that's going to be caught for another first down. About 3 minutes to play now as Abel's going to go with another first down, just moving the chains, moving it along. Under 2 minutes now. They've been run the clock. 3rd down, broken tackle on the handoff. They're not going to quite get in, and they're going to settle for the field goal. Obviously, you understand that decision, and now it's going to be up to the defense to hold on. Oregon got a minute and a half to play, and even though Luvu is not starting, he's not playing significant time, this is still Luvu's team, so we are, you know, going to be seeing a national championship for one of them, and it looks like it's going to be Georgia. If they could just run this clock out, it's going to be another handoff, and the run game is going to seal the deal, and a national championship for Georgia. Niles Abel, you gave him 1 year to start. He waited till his 5th season, and he came out there and was a good starter. Would have been really interested to see what he got if he was able to play through a full career. I mean, even just the in-season progression, he jumped up another 2 overall, so a 91 overall quarterback is obviously great, and some of these other players getting involved a little bit. Meeks is going to end his career without a playoff victory. Luvu, like I said, he got a little bit of time, a little bit of playing. He just was a receiving back. Abel, 1st round quarterback, 1 year starter, and then Meeks, he's going to end up going in the 3rd round. Apple is going to transfer again, because why not? He's going to go to Washington, which isn't a very smart decision for him. Earl is going to be a quarterback for Virginia Tech, but it's not smart for Apple because he was the starting tight end at Fresno State. He's transferring to Washington, where he's their 4th best tight end. Cool, they got the right playing style you like, but you're never going to play again, basically. Greg Winters, he's, again, not really developing all that great, just low 80s overall, 81. Luvu, on the other hand, like I said, the development matters a lot because all of a sudden, he's already better than Winters. 83 overall, a +8 overall jump for him. And then Earl looks to be an incredible quarterback. He's coming out here, star development, super athletic, 79 overall, and is already the starter for Virginia Tech from day one. Off the bat, he could be a special player for this team. Another season getting sim through, and another player who is probably going to end up being a quarterback. And we have Oregon in the playoffs with Luvu now as a starter. The thing is, though, Luvu is coming off a dislocated ankle, so he's going to be out for the game. So I simulated it because I wasn't going to watch the game without Luvu. Oregon won, though, so we're going to get to see them in action against Middle Tennessee. And Middle Tennessee is winning by 7 here. Under 2 minutes to play. Now, Oregon got the stop and the ball back, so they're going to have the opportunity to tie this game up. And there's a big play to the 25-yard line. Timeout used. Minute 20 to go, 3rd down and 5. Throwing in the face of pressure for the first down. Goal to go. And the tying touchdown is going to be dropping and throwing on the run back in the end zone. And the tying touchdown is scored. Now it's going to be 20-20, and Middle Tennessee is going to get sacked. So we're going to overtime unless they can get a big play here. They're just going to run it. And we are not going to be playing college overtime. You know, I went to go sim through, and I guess we're playing NFL overtime again. This has happened in a previous video. If you hit a wrong thing at the wrong time, basically, when you're trying to sim through and spectate, you get NFL overtime rules, basically. So if Oregon scores a touchdown, they're going to win this game. Or if they score, I think, even a field goal, they might win. So I think this is just sudden death. Oregon is going to have it at the goal line, fighting it for the touchdown. And yes, they literally are going to just get the football back on overtime. Middle Tennessee's never going to touch the ball. They run one play, and it's over. Middle Tennessee doesn't even get a chance. And this is another example. NFL overtime. It stinks. Every team should have a chance to possess the football, but Oregon wins. And even though they struggled against Middle Tennessee, they smacked Oklahoma around. Now they're on to the national championship, where they're going to win 45-10. One of the weirder national championship runs that I've seen. You know, injured star player, sim round 1, kind of glitchy round 2, and then you smack the final 2 teams. Keon Apple didn't get to play because he wanted to go transfer to a stack team. Winters finally got some action and was quite the receiving back, not much in the ground game. And then Luvu, he did have that dislocated ankle, so he didn't play every single game, but he had a nice season nonetheless. Earl getting out there, having a solid year 2 for Virginia Tech. And while they thought they had something going, Earl is not going to be staying around. He's going to Tennessee. And not only that, Tennessee says, you know what, screw it, let's just get them both. They got the top transfer portal quarterback, basically, and then also got one of the top quarterbacks in the nation at Athletes. So I mean, they're sure to have at least a quarterback for the future. Luvu looking really good now as he has just jumped another 8 overalls because he is just ridiculous. And like I said, once you get running backs with star or elite devs, they just go crazy. Earl, obviously, not going to grow that much in overall. The only boost that he is getting is from, you know, the XP that he accumulated from the season. So he does jump, but not because of off-season training. And then Jamie Thomas is going to be another nice player to add on, I guess. He's an elite dev quarterback, but he's going to be pretty buried on the depth chart, so you're going to hope he doesn't get cut or anything. But Earl's going to be the starter for now, and we'll see how much better he gets, or who assumes to be the better of the 2 quarterbacks between them. Another guy who's probably going to end up being a quarterback. Earl is at least vindicated for this season, making the playoffs, whereas Virginia Tech didn't. They just scored a touchdown to make it a 6-point game, and now they need to stop at 3 minutes to play. But Penn State moving the chains, first down, keeping the clock running. Timeouts are being used, and on 3rd down, timeouts are running low for Tennessee, and time is 2 as the first down into the red zone. Goal to go is going to end it. They just couldn't get the stop. Not only that, I mean, on the next play, Penn State wouldn't score a touchdown. It's not going to end up mattering. They could have just ran the clock, but now on the other side, we got Oregon, and they're back in the playoffs trying to get another national championship. It's a low-scoring game with 4 minutes to play, 13-7, but Oregon inside the 10-yard line, and a lot of time, he's going to tuck and run it. He's got the touchdown and the lead. So now Cal is going to have 2.5 minutes to play to try to get themselves into field goal range, and they're going to throw one deep, and that's going to be intercepted. Oregon, he threw it up in double coverage. They take the football to about midfield, and now they have a chance to run the clock, but it's going to be 4th down, and they're going to go for it. They could have just punted the football. They're not going to get it. Cal, that's an interesting decision to go for the win, go for the dagger basically, and now Cal has got it at the 41-yard line, now getting a little bit closer, 3rd down and 2, throwing outside. They got the 1st down into field goal range, and they could just run this clock and try to get Oregon to use their timeouts if they want to. Throwing, and the fumble, he gets sacked, and it's going to be scooped up. Oregon on the run. He's only got 1 man to beat. You probably don't want to score because it would still be a 1-score game, and Cal chases him down, and if you're Cal, you probably want him to score, but Oregon, it's going to make that pointless anyway. They're going to score. It's an 8-point game, so it's still 1-score game somehow, someway, 40 seconds to play. Cal got a 1st down completion to about the 40-yard line. Timeout burn. Now at about midfield, they're dropping a throw. 2nd down and 2. Quarterback is going to run it. He didn't want to, but he had to, and timeout used. 45-yard line. 1st down and 10. He's going to get sacked. And now the clock is continuing to run, spiking the football, and now 23 seconds to play. And he's going to get sacked again. 4th down and long. Desperation. 10 seconds to play. You need to heave one deep, and he's going to go just for it, and it's going to be incomplete in a wild game where Oregon scores all their points in the final quarter, and that was one of the weirdest finishes I have seen. But now they got a 14-6 lead over NC State, so the defense is doing spectacular right now, not allowing much in the scoring department. NC State trying to go in a game-tying drive with just over 2 minutes to play, and the handoff's going to get them a 1st down to about the 32-yard line. Back to the line, 1st down and 10, throwing outside, and that's in between a tight window, a couple of defenders in the area, but he's got it at the 12-yard line. Drop it to throw, end zone, and he needed to put more on that one. It's intercepted, and Oregon's going to win it 14-6. So the defense doing their thing right now, and they go on to the next round. And this time around, Penn State, who knocked out Tennessee, they got 21 points. They got the lead, and Penn State's in the same situation as they were before, just trying to run the clock out. But Oregon getting a sack. They're still in field goal range, though. 29-yard line, 3rd down, and they get brought down. They're still going to get a field goal out of this, and it is good. So it's a 2-score game with under 2 to play, and Oregon is going to not really be able to do anything about it. Penn State is going to knock out both of our teams. Louvu and Earl go down. Penn State's going to end up going to the national championship, and no repeat for Oregon. And Winters, wrapping up his career, he had a 1,000-yard season, so good on him for being able to get into the lineup eventually. Louvu, awesome season, over 1,000 yards, so he's looking pretty good, and he could be going pro. Earl, not bad, obviously took his team to playoffs, and, we'll see what he gets to do in actual development. Winters doesn't end up getting drafted, and surprisingly enough, Louvu doesn't go to the pros, so we're going to get another season of him, and look how good he is now. At 91 overall, when we did the running back video, 91 overall, like once they hit like 90 plus, they were out of there. But 91 overall, he's sticking around, and now he's at 94, so one of the better players we have seen. Earl does take a nice little jump up to an 85 overall, so that's a +4 for him, and that's going to mean that he's going to be holding off Jamie Thomas, it looks like, even though he's getting a little bit better, but not that much, only a 77 overall, and that's going to be obviously disappointing for someone who's an elite dev player, so he's going to be even further buried on the depth chart, and he's a real risk to get cut or just not play. But you'd think with an elite quarterback, eventually when Earl, graduates and everything, he's eventually going to work his way up. Even Niles Abel was able to do that. He was an elite dev quarterback, 79 overall, so you'd think Thomas can get to that point too. Next guy, how about a 6'1", 230-pound, 94 speed power back? He looks unbelievable. One of the best players I have scouted. He looks a little bit like a running back we had seen previously in a video, Cam Childress, but he might even be better than him, and that's a player I want to get to pretty quickly, and Dennessy's going to speed up that process with some dominant playoff victories. Earl goes back-to-back with comfortable wins in the playoffs, but in the next game, we go over to the other bracket. We got Texas versus Oregon. Louvu trying to get back to that national championship, but Texas field goal try for the 2-score lead is no good. Oregon now, the door is wide open for a tying drive if they can get it. They got a lot of time in the pocket here, 3rd down, throwing, and that's going to be intercepted, so you're not going to go and get yourself a game-tying drive. Louvu is going to get knocked out, and he's definitely going to the NFL now. And as for Tennessee, now it's their turn at Texas. It's 31-35. Earl, he's got a deficit to overcome, and he can take a shot downfield, and he's got it on the run for the touchdown. So Texas now, it's their turn to try and score, and they got a big play in between two defenders. He hangs on at the 45-yard line. Hurry him back to the line. 2:25 to go, and another big play there, and they're already 2 plays in, and they're in enemy territory inside the 30. Now third down, throw it outside, that's going to be caught, and now it's goal to go. Texas threatening to take this lead as they're going to throw short. That's going to be caught, and now minute 20 to go. It's going to be a field goal try, so Tennessee holds. We're in overtime, and Texas now on defense. Tennessee is getting swarmed, and Earl had nowhere to go. There were 3 guys around him. Third down and long, and he's going to break out of a sack, and he saves what could potentially have knocked them out of field goal range. I don't know if their kicker could have made it from well past 50. He knocks it through there, and now Texas, a touchdown can win this game. They're going to throw it already for the end zone, and Texas wins it on the first play on their offensive series in overtime, and it's a 44-41 win. Just like Penn State last year, Texas knocks out Tennessee and Oregon. Luvu didn't quite hit the highs that he had in his previous season, but still an overall really nice career. He's going to go pro. He's going to be one of the better guys that we have seen in this video overall wise, and probably overall production wise. He's going to go in the first round, so another first rounder on the board. And Lambeau, he's gonna go to Minnesota, which I feel like is a little unfair. Imagine trying to tackle him in that freezing cold weather when it gets to December time. Nobody's going to want to do that, and he is a perfect player for Big Ten football, so honestly, a nice landing spot for him, a team that's going to run the football quite a bit. I don't even think he cared about going to the best team or anything. It sounds like he literally just wanted to go to the team that was just going to feed him the ball as much as humanly possible. And, I can't even blame him for that. We might be running into Derrick Henry 2.0 right here. Here is Lambeau, elite development, because of course he is. And he's an 81 overall in base. This might be among the best prospects I have ever found in any of these videos. I mean, he's a power back who is that fast, that ridiculous. And because he went to Minnesota, he's going to be starting right off the bat. The thing that is potentially worrying is his college career might be too fast because he's going to be leaving so quickly, because his overall is probably going to be jacked. Earl's back in the playoffs against USC now, and he's going to get brought down. Second down and long turns to third, and not quite as long, but still pretty long way to go. They're just going to run the football, trust the defense. Minute and a half to play. USC throwing it, and that's going to be swatted down. Fourth down now. After a third down swat, they're going to throw it up, and that's going to be intercepted, and they had to force one there, so it's going to be Tennessee football, and they're going to put it away with a victory. And they did tack on a field goal at the end, didn't really end up mattering, and they're going to come up short against NC State, so they get kind of smacked around 48-22. So Earl still not able to get all the way to a national championship, but he had a really nice career and a really spectacular final season. 88 overall because he didn't get that 1 year of development from transferring. Lambeau, he was all right. Earl gets drafted in the 7th round. I think he was more than deserving of getting drafted and drafted higher. Maryland, meanwhile, they've quietly gotten Tubbs, who is a solid quarterback, and then they go and get another one. Jamie Thomas, on the other hand, he's not doing anything. It looks like he's just not going to be anything. He's just not playing. He's not good enough. He's not developing. So really underwhelming there from an elite quarterback to just not really ever do much of anything. It seems like he still, I guess, has a little bit of time left to try to rectify it. Lambeau, he's going to obviously take a nice jump up, and he's going to be an 85 overall. And then Nestrowitz is, I believe, how you pronounce that. He is a 78 overall. Just impact development, but you'd think with Maryland having this good of QB play, you would presume they should be able to do something, you'd hope. I mean, that's 2 quarterbacks in a row. That's like maybe 6 years of nice QB play. Next guy, look at that. We finally got a defender on the board. It only took us till about our 11th player, but a defender on the board. Potts did his thing. And then I got a little bit sad. Look at what Lambeau did in his first 5 games. And then he basically got a season-ending injury. He came back for the bowl game. Obviously wasn't the same, but he was destroying teams. 5 games. I mean, not Ashton Janty, but I mean, he was doing what Derrick Henry's doing this season. Derrick Henry's going nuts this season. He actually might just be the second coming of Derrick Henry, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. He's averaged, that was like 130-something yards a game, it felt like that year. So he's going to be going into another season. Maryland still got their 2 quarterbacks doing their thing. But I want to see Lambeau stay healthy this year, because if on that pace, I mean, I don't see running backs have unbelievable seasons that often. Look at him, man. Dude, his speed is maxed out. He has maxed out speed. He's 235 pounds, 6'1", and he has 99 speed. How is he this good? It is not fair, and I need him to stay healthy for this season. He's a 90 overall now. Biggers is going to be on Wisconsin. So yeah, our first defender, a linebacker. That's nice to see. I'm, a little disappointed how little defenders we've seen, but I guess it's a little more fun to see the players with the ball in their hand. Another quarterback on the board. So quarterback, obviously the most prevalent, and we just can't catch a break. Broken tailbone after his first game, and in the game he ran for over 200 yards. Like, this is ridiculous. I know it's against an FCS team, but over 200 yards. You look at the season averages, it's ridiculous, but because it was after 1 game, he's going to get a medical red shirt, so at least he gets something there. A medical red shirt's at least going to give him another season. He's not going to go pro after a 1-game season, so we are going to get a 4th year, but he just needs to stay healthy. Potts, I'm not even focusing on some of these other guys because these are pretty standard, by-the-numbers athlete quarterbacks in Maryland. I mean, one of them's literally sitting on the bench at this point. We're focused here on Lambeau because if he could just play most of the games, I think he might be, putting up legendary numbers. Look at him now. He is a 95 overall. He's a 99 with boosts. He is unbelievable. And just feed him the football. Just feed him the football, see what happens. Just give him the ball every single play. I don't know why you wouldn't, because Minnesota, it's not like they're some super stacked team. They're a nice team, but they ain't super stacked. You give this dude the ball every single play, he might be able to do something. And Steve Wall, the next one, very disappointing. Lowest overall player we've had, 73 overall. He is star, so he has a chance. But just a 73 overall, it's kind of like maybe you shouldn't have put him at quarterback. He seems like he could probably be a running back and be a little bit better. But next guy we have, another defensive player, a run stopper, so it's going to be a linebacker. And as we go to the playoffs, Minnesota makes the playoffs, so he's healthy, and he's got the football here against Auburn. He's got the first down. You can see the stats there. He's over 100 yards on the game, but they are losing, so it's 2 minutes to play. I mean, as much as I'd like to give him the football, they are going to throw it, and now it's 4th down. They're going to throw it and trying to get the conversion here. They got it, and now at the 35-yard line. Just hand him the football, man. I don't care if there's only 2 minutes to play. Give him the ball. They are going to put it at the 15-yard line, though, and now 3rd down and 7, throwing, and it's going to be pressure, sack. You need to go for a pass here on 4th down and long, and he's got a lot of time in the pocket, but someone's got to get open down the field. He's going to test it for the end zone, and it's intercepted, and now Auburn taking it the other way, and not only is it going to be an interception, but nobody's going to catch him. Pick 6 for Auburn to end this one, so unfortunately we're not going to get to see much of him in-game playing, but I want to see what he was able to do on the field with a healthy season. He makes first team All-American, no surprise. And my goodness, a 1,700-yard season. The thing is, he did get hurt this year. He missed like 3 games, basically. You see a 0 there, a couple of weeks where he didn't play. He didn't even play every game. He only played, what would that be, like 11, 12 games or something? He put up 1,700 yards. Look at his career stats. He averaged over 100 yards a game in his career. And I know it was a career, injury plague, so he only played like 30 games. But I need to know, what does it take to get a running back a Heisman? Maybe that's a video I should do, because I've never seen a running back, I don't think, win the Heisman. And I don't know why. Like, I think I am qualified to say that I have among the most simulated seasons ever in this game. I have simulated dozens of seasons. Every video I do is 15, 20, 30 seasons. I don't think I've seen a running back win the Heisman. I really don't. So Maybe I should do a video on that at some point just to see what it does. What does it take to even get on the ballot as a running back? I've seen running backs, on the ballot as like a third or a fourth, but I've never actually seen them win it, I don't think, which is crazy. You can let me know how much experience you have at running backs winning the Heisman in simulation. Maybe you guys have like usered a player to get him the Heisman if you just cranked up his stats, but I don't know how often you guys have seen running backs actually win the Heisman, the CPU in simulation do it, but I mean, maybe it's happened. I can't recall. Obviously, I've simulated like hundreds of years at this point in this game, but I can't recall it happening, and I feel like I'd remember if it did, so we're going to move on. And we got potentially our first wide receiver of the video, a physical player, Trent Ulrich. Nobody really did anything in this season because, we just got linebacker. That Nestrowitz guy finally got an opportunity to play, and, another linebacker in Wolf for Kansas State. So we got a couple of defenders on the board. He doesn't end up getting drafted, Nestrowitz at quarterback. Biggers, though, he's looking pretty nice at a 93 overall. So 98 with boosts, and he is freakishly athletic at the linebacker spot. I was talking over some of the stuff here, but I want to see him in action. Steve Wall he's not good. He's barely getting better. I'm surprised he hasn't been cut yet. I mean, by this point, a player like him usually gets cut in these types of videos, but a cut hasn't happened yet. But a problem we are going to run into right now is something that I am genuinely baffled and confused by. So Trent Ulrich is not here, and I don't understand. He just is gone. I have over 30 minutes of footage of me looking for him. I looked through the receivers. I was like, okay, maybe they put him at a different position. They didn't. I looked throughout the entire nation at wide receivers. Nothing. I looked through the entire nation's teams, sorted by name. Nothing. Sorted by true freshmen. Nothing. I looked through every team's roster 3 times over. He wasn't there, and I don't know why. So, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he... I was thinking, maybe he flipped his commit and something else went down and something. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he just got deleted or nuked. He's not there. And then I proceeded to look through, every season following to see maybe if I had missed something or if he was, I was just being blind. He never popped up. So I've never seen that happen, but simulating hundreds of seasons of this game, you're bound to see things that you've never seen before. So I had a player magically disappear. So Trent Ulrich, sorry, but you are not part of the video. I tried. Trust me, I tried. You guys have said multiple times they pop up sometimes in the transfer portal. He did not pop up. They pop up sometimes, switching positions. He did not. He was not on another team. He was never in the portal. He never showed up. So I don't know, but... that was a fun half an hour that I wasted trying to look for him. Meanwhile, we got Kansas State here. They won a playoff game against TCU, and now they're out here fighting against Colorado State. And Colorado State with a big play down the field. And will he be caught? No, he will not. And the defense, led by Matthew Wolf, is getting torched right now for 36 points. And now it's going to be up to the offense to do something here. And chucking one deep. That one's floated all the way up and caught. But he gets tackled down at the 2-minute warning inside the 20-yard line, throwing off the 2-minute warning back in the end zone, caught for the touchdown, and Kansas State tied it up. And now Colorado State has a sack there. They're going down, and Kansas State has the football now, 2nd down and 4. They're throwing one up top to the 30-yard line, caught out of bounds, and it gets them into field goal range. They run the clock down, kick a game-winning field goal, and they survive. Colorado State, though, I don't often see them getting into the playoff mix, so nice to see some fresh teams get into the mix, but they are moving on to the next round semifinals here against Auburn, and it's a 31-31 game where Kansas State's going to have to punt the football away to Auburn. Under 2 minutes to play, thrown outside. That's going to be caught past midfield and past the 40, breaking tackles. He's breaking more tackles, and another one. Touchdown, Auburn. What a play. He broke like 4 tackles, and now Auburn has the lead. Minute 16 to go. Swatted on 3rd down. Now it's 4th down. Game on the line. He's going to get hit as he's thrown. It's incomplete, and Auburn is going to win it on that spectacular catch and run. It looked like he had just about midfield 40-yard line, but he goes all the way for a touchdown. And sadly, we didn't get to see Eli Biggers into any sort of playoff action or really much of anything. But he was really good, really nice career first round pick, 93 overall. So, would have liked to see him get involved. Quarterbacks back on the board here. Brian Payne is going to be at Ohio State. Steve Wall, I mean, oh my goodness, he is just a whole bunch of nothing. Like, he is so bad. Full disrespect to him. He is a wasted spot in this video, but at least we got a guy like Matthew Wolf, who is an 88 overall and looking pretty nice as he tries to get back to the playoff mix. We have Brian Payne here, who only an impact development guy, but a 78 overall is already better than what Wall was going into his third season. So, I mean, he doesn't have to go that far away to not be the worst quarterback in this video. And we have a guy who has a contention spot for being one of the best quarterbacks in this video, Titus Bettis, who is a gem. Nobody makes the playoffs this time, so no Kansas State playoff appearance, but Wolf, now a 90 overall with that in-season development. Bettis is going to go to Oregon, so Oregon's got a chance to have another nice player in this video. They already had Luvu earlier. And look at Wall, he actually wouldn't be a bad running back if they were to move him. This is a situation where if we were doing this video with me choosing the positions, I would have chose running back for that guy. Matthew Wolf completely maxed out now, so 90 overall. He couldn't get any better, and he's going to be a nice drafted player into the NFL. Brian Payne, he doesn't actually go up much. He only goes up +1, negatives of being an impact development type of guy, but he is at least moving up the depth chart a little bit. Now number 2, Titus Bettis, on the other hand, looking pretty nice, 79 elite dev players. So Oregon, I mean, he is buried on the depth chart a little bit, but we're going to hope that he can eventually find his way into the starting lineup. Next guy we have, Brian Harper, a running back, but we haven't seen much playoff action. The first 10 guys that we had were very much involved in the playoffs and kind of getting there every year. We've kind of slowed down a little bit. Wolf can't get back. He's going to end up getting drafted in the second round. Wall, he ended up, starting a season and playing pretty solid, but he wasn't a high enough overall. 81 overall is not going to be nearly good enough to get drafted. Payne, on the other hand, he jumped up a little bit better this time around, still second on the depth chart waiting for his turn. Could be a situation like, Abel at the start where he has to wait till his 5th season. But Bettis also, he's still waiting his turn, and he is going to be second on the depth chart now. Not a big jump for an elite dev guy, just a +1, so a little disappointing there. Brian Harper, not very good. 76 overall, impact dev. These are the types of players that are going to get cut in this video. We haven't had a proper cut yet. Ulrich is, I don't know, he got nuked, I guess. I don't know what happened to him, but 5th on the depth chart and a 76 with not great development. Next guy, though, Minnesota, back on the board with a running back, and Brian Payne, he's finally getting to be where you could probably start him if you wanted to, but he is going to be an adequate enough starter for them at an 85 overall, 90 with boost, so they're doing good there. And then we have Bettis. He's a starter as well, so we're going to get to see some action, because you'd think Ohio State and Oregon should not both be missing the playoffs, but, I kind of called it with Brian Harper. Yeah, he got cut. I looked all over the nation. He wasn't around. And, with the running backs, there was only one Harper, I think, at running back, and it wasn't him. Yeah, so that guy, that ain't him. And then I looked on the team to see if they switched positions for him. They did not, so it's not like they stuck him at a different position to try to maximize him. He just got cut. I mean, he was a 5th-string running back. He wasn't probably going to be special anyway. Maybe this guy can, because Minnesota knows how to give their running backs the football, so he's not quite as good as Lambeau. You're not going to replace him as well, because he's just a 78 impact, but a power back who's going to be a day 1 starter. And we got our first bust of the video. We hadn't gotten one yet. It took us till our 19th player, but a bust. And, Payne finally get a start. Surprisingly, I thought, Oregon and Ohio State, both of them wouldn't miss the playoffs. They both did miss the playoffs, but they should probably make it next year. Mock, decent season as a freshman. Cincinnati is going to snag Samson, so I don't know what a bust number 1 athlete's going to look like, but we'll see that in a second. Brian Payne, though, 87 overall, not bad. He's a 92 at boost, so you'd think we should see him in action. And then we got Bettis here, who is now an 85 overall, 88 with boost, and Oregon perennially in the playoffs. One thing I do find interesting is just how much quarterbacks who are athletes and scrambling archetypes just love upgrading their elusiveness. So many guys will be 99 elusiveness, which is kind of pointless. Not fully pointless, but I mean, if you're a quarterback, I don't know if you should be focusing on your elusiveness, but this is a little gross here. We got a normal development player. You know how rare it is to do one of these videos and get a normal dev player? if I do recall in like the 5 or 6 other videos, I think this is only like our second normal. So it is not off that we get a normal. He's probably going to stink it up a little bit, but he went to Cincinnati, so we shouldn't have to worry about him anyway. But we do have Ohio State in the playoffs, and Brian Payne trying to replicate what the first player in this video did, Niles Abel, and that's waiting till your 5th season to have your big breakout, win the national championship, and he's got to go through Georgia, the team that Niles was on, to go and do it. Game-time field goal on the way. It's just about a 35-yarder, and it hits the upright, and it's no good. A 35-yard field goal hits the upright, and Ohio State could end it here. And they do with a first down. And that's ridiculous. A short field goal is clanking off the upright. Then Ohio State dominates Clemson. So now they're on to the semifinals. They're against NC State. NC State has been, a thorn in the side of some of the teams in this video. So, we'll see if Ohio State can take them down this time around. But NC State's got the game winning touchdown potentially if they can get a stop as they go throwing outside for the 2-point conversion. It is good. 31-28. Payne, he's going to break out of a sack, and he's got the first down, breaking a tackle. He's not sliding. He's got it to the 44-yard line. Under 2 minutes to play. Dropping to throw. Blitzen, and he's going to get it for the first down, but it's knocked away. And now 4th down, game on the line, and he's going to just throw it into coverage. It's incomplete. And NC State takes down another one of our teams. Honestly, a super efficient career touchdown interception ratio. That's pretty ridiculous from Payne, but it's not going to be enough to get the job done. Bettis, he's still going to have another chance to try to see if he can do something at Oregon in another year of development. Mock, he's no Marquise Lambeau, but he's not bad. No drafting from Payne. No one wanted to get him. I think he absolutely deserved to be drafted at least in day 3. But Titus Bettis, not bad. He didn't really get better in the offseason, though. His overall was like that at the end of the season, so no real growth from the offseason training. Mock, he's essentially maxed out, 85 overall, so like I said, he's no Lambeau, but he's an alright player. Corey Sampson, I mean, for a normal dev, I guess he's alright, but he's never going to be anything spectacular, and we'll see if he's able to at least, hold down a starting job for Cincinnati. But next guy we have, David Keener, who is somehow even lower than a guy like Steve Wall. 71 overall star dev. This is one of those players that I spoke of at the start where it's like, they have star dev, but those skill caps are not great for a star dev player. So that's a guy where I'm like, he should probably be playing some other position. He probably would be a better running back or probably a DB. We haven't seen any DBs so far, and there are some quarterback athletes that are good DBs in this game. Bettis, he didn't really get to do anything in the playoffs. He had a nice season, 88 overall, with the in-season growth. Mock, like I said, maxed out, didn't really do much. Bettis, he does end up getting drafted in the 5th round, so 87, Payne was not good enough to get drafted. 88, Bettis was a 5th rounder, so kind of on that line there. Mock, he, for some reason, transferred to Washington, and somehow the second time in this video, a player who was a perfectly fine starter on his team just decides, yeah, let's transfer to Washington to sit the bench. It's weird that that's happened twice in this video, but sure, he's going to sit the bench at Washington. Sampson, at least he's going to be a starter for them. Keener, I mean, +3 is fine, but you're starting off at such a low overall that it's going to be hard for him to really do much. And then the next guy we have, a really nice player. It is an 80 overall elite dev defensive end who has a really nice skill ceiling. We're going to hope we can get something from him. He went to Cal. Cal's been pretty good in this video. Next player we have, Martin Bavaro. He is a #1 ranked player, which is weirdly the first time that that's happened in this video. The #1 ranked player being an athlete, but a linebacker. So we see Sampson there. Obviously, Mock doesn't get drafted. He was just not high enough overall. Bavaro goes to Miami, so Miami's on the board in this video. Sampson, I mean, again, for normal development, 83 overall. He's not even going to be the lowest overall player in this video. Probably not even the lowest 2 overalls. I mean, he used the same overall as that elite dev quarterback who rode the bench at Tennessee. Jamie Thomas, he was at 83 by the end of his career. So, I mean, normal, he's all right, 83. And then Keener, that's whatever. Disappointingly, though, this one's just stupid. He was an 80 overall D end who is just spectacular, but since he was like 4th on the depth chart, he got cut. That one's just stupid. I can at least defend some other cuts that happen. I can't defend that 80 overall elite dev player getting cut. Like, what are we doing here? You know, that's something that the game's going to have to clean up for next season, next year, you know, college football 26th. Just figure that stuff out. The players should not be getting cut. One thing I do want to be able to do, you should be able to cut true freshmen. Like, I don't care. If I recruit a true freshman and he is so disappointing, but I'm forced to keep him because he's a new player, and I got to cut some upperclassman dude because, you know, the freshmen are locked, that's a little ridiculous. But no surprise here, Corey Sampson doesn't get drafted. Tyrell Tubbs, a running back, goes to Alabama. Keener, he's 70s overall. Like, he's just really not good. He should be a running back probably, or like I said, just not a quarterback. But Bavaro, this guy, what a jump in overall. 82 overall he was starting off as, which is already ridiculous. That's highest overall. But he jumps up to a 91 after one season. Ridiculous. Probably the thing that's even more ridiculous is, you've seen that correctly, he was number 2 on the depth chart. He's the second best linebacker in college football in this game right now, but the best linebacker is also on his team, so he's still the number 2 linebacker. He did make All-American, though, because high-rated players make All-American, and Tubbs did get action in his freshman season, but because Bavaro grew in overall so quickly, he still can't enter the draft. I've seen, you know, redshirt sophomores make it, but not true sophomores. Like, he needs to play another season, so he's going to get another year. Keener, I mean, yeah, he's all right. He made sure his health is there, so he's available for them. Bavaro, awesome player, 94 overall, so athletic, amazing run stopper, and he's now the number 1 linebacker on his team, so he's going to get to play a little bit more. Tubbs at Alabama, pretty nice player, 84 overall, a +5 boost, and he's still got a long way to grow, so he could be another one of those running backs we've seen in this video hit that 90+ overall mark. Speaking of running backs, we got another one in Jerwan Wren, who is a 79 overall elite dev player at Kansas State. Kansas State's been perennially, you know, in and out of the playoff mix, so he should probably help them get in there. So we got some running backs to potentially close off this video, but the final player is going to be Manny Cloud. That is a quarterback. So we have finally hit the end where we are just kind of riding out the prospects that we have left. And we finally got some playoff action here. Look at that. We got Tyrell Tubbs at Alabama, the starting running back at Alabama, getting a dominant 41-20 victory. So on to the semifinals. They're going to be taking on Florida, and they're up by 3. Florida has the football, second down, and they're going to be sacked here, and they're trying to go on a game-winning drive, but now it's going to be 3rd down and 22 already. He's just going to step up and get rid of the football. It's 4th and 22. Now he's just got to heave it deep, try something, waiting for the players to get downfield, and that was just a horrific throw to nobody, and it's going to be right to a defender, and that's going to be an Alabama victory. So Alabama pretty easily has cruised to a national title appearance, and we haven't even gotten to see Tubbs on the field yet, but we are going to get to see Notre Dame 33-35, and they are going to get stopped. Alabama takes the football, and we get to see some offense here. Throwing one up the seam, and that's a laser throw. Can they try to run this clock out with under 4 minutes to play, 3.5 to go? They hand it off. That's not to Tubbs, that's to the backup running back, and that's a big gain. So 1st down turns to 2nd down. Clock still running, 2.5 to go. Moving the chains once again. 1st down. Notre Dame starting to burn some timeouts now. 1 timeout left, 3rd down and 4. Under 2 minutes to play, and the 1st down is acquired, and they got the football back with 4 minutes to play, and they didn't let Notre Dame see that football again. Impressive stuff from the offense, but we didn't even get to see Tubbs do all that much, but I mean, he's an 84 overall. I guess they were leaning on the rest of their talented players. Bavaro, he's definitely going to the NFL. Keener, at least he got to play a little bit, and he was fine. Tubbs, really nice season. Really good season. 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns. Bavaro, obviously first-round pick. Keener obviously doesn't get drafted. And I guess we're going to run it back with Oklahoma State, and the final player is going to be going there. So, I mean, it's impossible for him to be worse than a 71 overall coming in, right? Tubbs, on the other hand, 89 overall. Really nice, 94 with boost. Wren, he is going to be an 84 overall, so just the same development path that he was on with Tyrell Tubbs, going from 79 to 84. Wren does the same thing. And then Manny Cloud, our final player, 79 overall, but impact. He's all right. He should definitely be more than just a 1-year throw him out there in his 5th season starter, so we should get to see a little bit more from him. Focusing on the players that are starting right now, though, we do got players in the playoffs. Tyrell Tubbs for Alabama back in the playoffs against Washington here. It is a 20-14 game, and Washington's getting sacked. And now it's going to be second down and long. They're down by 6, 3 minutes to play, and a run here is going to get them all the sack yardage back and a first down, nearing the red zone as they drop to throw. Third down and long is right up the sidelines for a first down and goal at the 6. Now they move ahead. Third down and goal inside the 5, throwing outside, incomplete. It's 4th and goal. Alabama, goal line stand. Alabama does a great job on defense to seal this game. They move on to the next round against Oregon, but that one does not quite go their way, so Alabama gets knocked out here in the second round in the Rose Bowl. But Tubbs, great season. He has himself another 1,000-yard double-digit touchdown season. Wren got in on the action a little bit, but we will see more of him. You know, I don't usually do this, but I was already hovered over Alabama, and I just decided to ask him, why not stay for another season? Why not? And Tyrell Tubbs said, yeah, let's run it back for another year. He's now a 94 overall, and he is looking like he could have a monstrous season once again. And even though Lambeau had that big 1,700-yard year, averaged 100 yards per game, we could have a guy like Tyrell Tubbs eclipse him in overall yardage because of the fact that he could go for a 3rd straight 1,000-yard season, which is just not something I see very often from running backs in this game. Wren and Cloud both are, assuming starting positions now in this season full time. And when we go to the playoffs here, we got Alabama and Kansas State both involved. Kansas State taking care of business in round 1 against Cal 22-3. Pretty dominant victory, and then they go and take care of business once again against USF, so they're dominating their way over to potentially Alabama. If Alabama can get through and win their game against NC State, it's 20-20 game, as Alabama will go play action. They will throw it on the run. That's going to be caught, and at the 30-yard line, 2.5 minutes to play, 3rd down and 2. Handoff, that's going to be Tyrell Tubbs, and he's got the first down. Continue to chew that clock down. 1.5 minutes to play. Handoff to Tubbs again, and he's breaking the tackle, and he's got the touchdown. So now NC State needs a game-tying drive. 1.5 minutes to play. Throwing one outside. That's going to be caught. 30-yard line, and he takes it out of bounds at about the 35. About 1 minute to play. 3rd down is here, and he's getting sacked, and it's going to be 4th and 11. Under 1 minute to play. Last opportunity. NC State throwing one. That's going to be intercepted, but there is a flag on the play, and this one is going to be ruled off. It was pass interference, it looks like. Alabama celebrating, but NC State's going to have another opportunity, and they are going to take the field now. 3rd down once more. 30 seconds to play, and he's getting sacked again. Now it's 4th down, 20 seconds to play. Throwing it outside. It's going to be intercepted, and no pass interference this time. Alabama wins it, and not only that, Tyrell Tubbs is doing spectacular things for Alabama as he goes nuts for a massive game. He's going to be taking out Kansas State and Wren, the other running back. Unfortunately for us, it's not a close game at all. 58-24, and Alabama's moving on to a national championship against Colorado, and Tubbs trying to cap things off with a national championship victory here. Can he get one as Colorado has the football? And they're going to get sacked here, as it's going to be, a little interesting, a jersey clash. Everyone's wearing white, but you can tell the difference between the two teams a little bit. I don't know who, coordinated everyone to just wear white jerseys, though, as Colorado throwing one deep, and that's going to be incomplete on 4th down and long. Alabama trying to seal this game. Tubbs, he's got the touchdown, and Alabama's going to win the national championship, and Tyrell Tubbs has another big season. He was spectacular. Another 1,000-plus yard year, double-digit touchdowns, and he was an amazing running back. Wren goes and puts up a 1,700-yard year. He had a whole bunch of carries, but what a season from the running backs. These running backs in this video are better than the running backs we had in the dedicated running back video. Look at them. Both of them leading the nation in yards and touchdowns. Just spectacular, as Tubbs is now going to go to the NFL. We can't convince him to stay this time, as he's going to go in the 1st round. And Wren coming back for another year. 94 overall. He could have left if he really wanted to, but he decided to stick around for another season and to see if he can go into the playoffs maybe and do a little bit better. Cloud, he's not progressing greatly, but he's fine. Sure, starting quarterback still for Oklahoma State. They have, despite having 2 quarterbacks, not done a whole lot. And Wren, unfortunately, doesn't make the playoffs. He does have another successful season. They just didn't give him the ball nearly as much. Probably wanted to conserve him a little bit more. But, I mean, you were trying to save him for the playoffs, potentially, but you didn't even make the playoffs. So that's going to result in him going in the second round. And as we wrap things up, Manny Cloud in his final season. Spoiler alerts, he's not going to be making no playoff appearance, which means we are going to be getting onto the final results, the statistics of this video, and we will have all the data, all the information for you as Manny Cloud wraps up his career and does not get drafted. But here is all the info right now. So we got our final stats and statistics, and starting off as we usually do with the location. This one was just all over the place, and it makes sense because certain areas produce different positions, and with the positions being all scattered because they're athletes, it resulted in a wide variety of places. No place had more than 2. Washington, Georgia, California, Virginia, Ohio, and Texas all had 2, but none of them ever hit 3. So, from a sample size of 25 that no place had more than 2, you can get the top athlete from just about anywhere in the country, which is a good sign if you're looking for those players, depending on what school you pick for your dynasty modes. Then we get to the recruiting info and what positions they were finding themselves in. 11 of the 25 players were quarterbacks, and they were the dominant position that we found, them and running backs. Running backs and quarterbacks essentially accounted for about 75% of the players. Very rarely were we able to find anybody else on the defensive side of the football. No DBs, which was a little surprising. And the most surprising fact was there was only one wide receiver, and the one wide receiver we got was the one player that just disappeared. But I mean, only one wide receiver is really surprising. So 19 of the players were in the backfield, whether it be quarterback or running back. Only one player was a number 1 ranked in the nation, which also was a bit surprising. The number 1 player in the nation being an athlete isn't crazy, so the fact that out of 25 only 1 hit that is interesting. On average, it was about the 9th ranked player in the nation, which I would have assumed would actually be higher. I would have assumed, based on the averages, this would be the highest and it'd be an easy top 5. But it wasn't. Maybe I just got a bad batch, but 25 is a pretty good sample size. So that was what the average is and why everything shaked out to be. Then when we get on to scouting them and their developments and everything, this was the most spread out when it came to the development traits, but only 1 bust out of 25, 5 gems, so pretty solid there. But when it came to the developments, it was all over the place. We even had 1 normal, which is pretty rare, so I only could account out of 24 instead of 25 because that 1 wide receiver never even got to see what his development was. Probably wasn't a normal, if I had to guess, but 8 impact, 8 star, 7 elite, so very even. It is just a complete toss-up what you're getting with these athletes when it comes to their development. And it makes it the most unstable position when it comes to what you're getting. A lot of the positions that we've done, some of them are pretty consistent, some of them are all over the place. This is the most sporadic and all over the place position that we have had so far. That all was going to contribute to a pretty weird development path, as there was no need to include a year 5 because not that many people made it to the 5th year, but I mean, we've seen guys start as high as an 82 overall. One of our players, the linebacker, was an 82 overall, but we've even seen as low as 71 being the player starting overall. We've seen, running backs hit 94, 95 overall, but then the lowest final overall of a player was 81. We've seen a player jump up 9 in 1 season, and then a player jump 5 their whole career. 19 their whole career was their biggest jump. So I think quarterbacks really do throw a wrench in the development path because quarterbacks just don't develop nearly as well. All of the low developing players and all the players who just didn't hit the right overalls, they were basically just quarterbacks. So they do drag down the overall, but the running backs also jack it up because the running backs hit the highest overall. So it really led itself to having a very odd bunch of statistics, and you can refer back to my individual videos on each position if you want to know about specifically just the running backs or the quarterbacks or whatever. So for the quick other facts that we did have, 12 were drafted, which again, lower than other videos we've done. Just under half were drafted. 6 were first round picks though. Only 7 made it to their 5th season, which is why I didn't feel like to include the 5th year, because most of them also were quarterbacks who would just drag down the overall. But 7 of the players hit 90 plus overall. Pretty good. But also 8 didn't even hit 85 overall, which is really disappointing. It is the biggest level of variance of all the spots that we have done. Either you can get just an absolute beast, or you're getting a low-end starting quarterback, maybe? For the best of the best, it is dominated by the running back position, as, I mean, I could have included either one of the linebackers. The linebackers were pretty good, but, man, I just couldn't single out any of these running backs and take them off. I mean, all of them were amazing. Soma Luvu got himself to a national championship, about 4,000 career yards, 28 touchdowns. Jawan Wren had a 1,700-yard year, 3,000 yards, 29 touchdowns. Tyrell Tubbs, over 5,000 yards and almost 50 touchdowns in his career. And then Lambo, just one of the best players we've seen in these videos. He was unbelievable. 110 yards rushing per game. A Heisman Trophy caliber level season, just incredible. And there was a quarterback that did deserve some respect, Jamario Earl. I know he was a 7th round pick. He deserved to be much higher than that. He was a 4-year starter, transferred from Virginia Tech to Tennessee, took his team to the playoffs like every year at Tennessee, won some playoff games, was very productive, very efficient, very effective on the ground too. Thought he was really good, like better than a number of quarterbacks that we had seen in the quarterback video. So I wanted to give respect to him. A lot of good running backs, a lot of bad quarterbacks, but overall that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think, what you thought of some of these running backs, who your favorite player was, and what you want to see next as I continue to get these videos out. Like, comment, and subscribe, as all that stuff is super helpful. And I will see you guys all in the next one.